Yetta, now I'm so certain of what to do.
And yet there's so many fluctuations. So how can you be?
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
We are honored that we've been able to create for you over 603 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, how to get the most out of your space and your wealth for that matter. And the great news is you can get access to them from home, from the office, or on the go. Mm-hmm. We're going to explore in more depth that real estate uncertainty, what the variables are, and sort of how to navigate through them a little bit. Right.
So, there's lots of things that we talked about flux, right? Things are fluctuating. The economy, is it going down? Is it moving towards recession? Is it staying in a steady state? How's the job market? And really, one of the things that makes a huge difference for people, maybe for you too, is consumer confidence. If the consumers feel confident, they will drive the market, the real estate market.
Even in an uncertain time.
Yeah. It's all about confidence of the buyer. Do they feel confident that their job is secure? Do they feel confident that in the future there'll be job raises, increased income? Mm-hmm. If they feel there's job uncertainty and, wages may go down or they may have to take a smaller job or something, then they're not going to go out and make a big decision like buying a home.
Right. And even the confidence that you can afford to pay the payments, and even the confidence that you can navigate the payments if the interest rates shift. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that whole conversation is huge.
Yeah. So we have several wars going on right now, which cause some flux, right? We have, uncertainty with gas prices, although gas prices seem to be holding downward pressure right now. So those types of things affect the real estate market almost more than we realize. Because if you look at the true indicators, we have a little more inventory than we had a year or 2 years ago. But we still have much less inventory than we have in previous years. Like I'm talking 5-10 years ago. And the consumer demand, the increase in population is huge, right? So there's a demand for housing. We're not building it fast enough. Those fundamentals are not going away.
Right. And yet there's still uncertainty around house prices. Are they going up? Are they going down? I mean, we've talked in lots of episodes or previous episodes around those that have gotten stuck. And my voice is even getting stuck as I think about it. Those that got stuck paying more for their home, especially new builds or not even just new builds, but stuck paying a significant amount of money for it at the height of COVID, and then for the prices to come down. And some people are even in a negative equity position right now. And we've done some episodes on that. So if you're thinking, well, that's my situation, well, let's go back to that, or connect with us directly, because this is very much an individual conversation, right?
Yeah. No, you just talked about negative equity. And one of the things that we offer is an equity review. And maybe you've been in your home for 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You're not sure what
maybe
equity,
30.
Maybe. You're not sure what equity you have. Yeah. And equity is a very simple thing to calculate, really. It's what's the current value that you could sell your property for minus what you owe on it. And that will give you a general idea of equity. Right. And then it's a decision. Okay. Some people just want to feel safe and sound. Oh, I got lots of equity, or I got this. Others will say, oh, I got all this equity that's sitting there doing nothing. Now, Ken and Yetta, what do I do with that equity? How do I make that get into action? And, we're in conversations with a client right now who bought a rental property from us about 7 years ago, I think, or something like that. So they have 2 properties. Both of them now have a lot of equity in them because the market had gone up significantly. They've been paying down the mortgages, one on each. The tenant's been paying the one down, and they've been paying their own down. And now she's ready to really look at, I guess they're ready, the couple's ready to look at a much bigger property and pull equity out, plus some cash reserves they have, to actually buy a generational real estate, right? Things that will affect the future of their children based on the real estate that they're going to own.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Isn't it?
Right? And so if you're thinking, how do I get an equity review? How do I get access to my knowledge? Because I can get some data by going online and trying to figure out the value my house is, which is the first piece of data you need, but it's not necessarily sound information. Mm-hmm. Because how do you decipher it? Are you getting the right numbers? Are you getting the asking prices? Are you getting the sold prices? Are you watching prices of houses come down? So if you want the real goods, all you have to do, if you're part of our community, which if you're listening to the show, I'm going to say you are, is connect with us. You can send us an email at together@dekkerteam.com. It has a gift or an invitation when you're part of what we're up to in the world is we will give you that data. And here's our commitment to you. There's no pressure from our perspective for you to do a specific thing with it. I've often heard people say, yeah, but I'm wasting your time if I'm not ready to make a decision. Yeah, and you can't even decide if you're ready to even consider making a decision around housing if you don't have the real data. So it is not a waste of our time. It is our contribution to you being in the right position to make a great decision.
Yeah.
And one thing that's true about me is what? I never make an offer that I feel bad about making.
No, you don't make an offer unless you're good to fulfill it.
Right.
Yeah. And Yetta, when people are looking at buying or selling, what's the truth about the inventory, how they feel about it?
Oh, it's so fun. Because if you're a seller, it feels like there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of inventory. And if you're a buyer, it feels like there's not enough selection. Not enough inventory in the real estate market. So it's an interesting back and forth. It's more, and so many things are about what's my perspective? Mm-hmm. Where am I at in the continuum or in the journey right now? And so that's going to help me to perceive things not necessarily as they are, but as I can see them based on my situation, right? Because as you mentioned, we have more inventory than we've had for 5 years. And yet we have way less inventory than we've had for much of our career over the last 35 years.
Yeah. And recently we've been working with a client. Let's call her Jennifer because we don't give out names because
sometimes
confidentially, right?
Yeah.
But let's call her Jennifer. She came to us with a big wish list and a budget point where I didn't believe she could get what she wanted. And the first step
because the market demonstrated that wasn't true.
Exactly. So the first step was to go to the mortgage broker and get pre-approved. And now she realizes that she will not be able to get exactly what she wants. And yet it's still, get in the market. Even if you can't buy your ideal home this time, it might be 5-7 years. But if you're a first-time buyer, way better to start putting equity into your own place so you can buy your dream home after than to keep paying the rent and the mortgage of your landlord.
Yeah, because you're paying, and you've heard me say this so many times, I feel like a broken record. And yet it is a point that I think when I was a tenant, I didn't realize that I was actually paying a mortgage even when I was renting. It just wasn't my own. And I don't want that for you.
So uncertain times just may equal opportunity, because together we're clarifying your options, because when you have them, your wisdom will flow.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.